Good afternoon. How are you? It's August 1st. What intentions have you set for the month? How did you wake up this morning? Were you achy? Were you stiff? Were you moaning and groaning? Were you dreading the day? I've been running around pretty much all morning. Ran my child, the youngest, around. His brake lights would not go off last night, so we ran around this morning looking for those parts. Thank God he knows how to fix all those things. He was Googling and looking things up on YouTube, so I ran him over to the auto parts store so he could get what he wanted. You know, I think about all of my children and the standard of measure that they live in their life and who they have judged and measured up against, comparing to how they grew up. And what about you? What is your measure? What is your standard of measure that you are now following as an adult from somebody that you were raised by, somebody you lived with, somebody that played such a very big impact in your life? I'm Kitryn Marie, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach, teach a variety of art classes, teach group painting classes, teach how to put a vision board together based in psychology, life coaching, mentor creative-minded women who want to start side hustles, how to find their community, go live, monetize their hobby. Been doing a lot, trying to get some things done in these last couple days since I've had some days off. And this morning I got up, I was drinking my coffee, scrolling through my phone like I do, and I kept thinking, I need to work in the yard. I need to get this grass cut. I need to get things cleared away, so I can plant some fall things, plant some more tulip bulbs for in the spring, and then it always takes me to my dad, always when I'm working in the yard. The standard in which I live when it comes to taking care of my house has been measured by the things that were taught to me from my dad, from my grandma. My grandma and grandpa raised me and my sister after my mother died in 1968. I was 6 years old. My sister was 3. My dad was a functioning alcoholic, truck driver, wasn't around a whole lot, but he pretty much, when he was around, did have a very hands-on, fatherly approach. Sometimes it came very left-handed, sometimes it was when he was very much inebriated. But the standard in which we live, the way that we function in our own home, I think as an adult, we have a tendency to always look back. We want home, we want to get to a place that we call home, but that home no longer exists. So as an adult, how have you created your home, your house, where you live, your source of comfort, your source of what you are comparing by a measure of standard from the person that you learned the most from? My dad always said it doesn't matter what you have in this life, but you must take care of it. And if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it. You will find a way to have something work for you. You will find a way to be, have ingenuity and create it. And my grandma, she was all about her home, making sure everything matched, making sure, dinner was on the table, making sure everything was made from scratch, making sure that she was able to stretch her money in order to provide for me and my sister, especially after my grandpa died. But this morning, I'm looking out in the yard, and I'm like, I need to get my grass cut. And Tyler does help me, my youngest, but that's my exercise. It's my hands in the dirt, which is my therapy, that just makes me feel good because I've planted seeds of some sort, knowing that a harvest, whether it be my flowers or whether it be a vegetable, that I have cultivated myself from that measure of standard. I was also reading on the internet because there is a saying, and the saying, let me pull it up real quick. A daughter needs a dad to be the standard against which she will judge all men. From my dating years, maybe I started dating when I was, like, real dating, like when I was 17 or 18. You know, we did group things as kids, and I did have a grade school boyfriend. But I mean, to date, always knowing what I was looking for in a person. Somebody that was going to measure up to my dad's work ethic, although, again, a lot of times things came left-handed from my dad. But my dad had a very much an entrepreneurial spirit. You know, he drove a truck for a long time. Started out at Dr. Pepper, went on to AG, Associated Grocers. From AG, went to Roadway, went to Yellow, retired actually from ABF. Sadly, my dad died at the age of 59. From all the years that he drank and all the years that he smoked, he came down with liver cancer. And looking at my dad's life, always having that steady income, but buying houses, renting homes. We own 2 homes. When Mom and Dad were married in 1958, they bought a plot of land in our Florissant, which was nothing but farmland back then. Horses surrounded us. I think that was my earliest vision of horses, and I knew as a little girl I wanted horses, and it was only later on in life when my dad played the ponies at the racetrack, when I was a little girl running up and down the paddock looking at these beautiful thoroughbreds, that I knew that I wanted to have horses. But, my dad taught me that entrepreneurial spirit. Whether you have a job or not, when the job fails, you have to have something always to fall back on. What is it about your innate talent that you can make a living at? As a woman who pretty much has been a single woman who has, always had a job, always had my hand in food and beverage, have always done the entrepreneurial thing, wanting somebody in my world who will participate in the life that I'm trying to build. Nothing worse than owning a home and really understanding the fact that you are the only one that has the hands-on approach. But that is the thing about owning a home. That is the thing about when you are calling someplace home, you are responsible for it. It's not a matter of somebody just flipping you some money so you can buy something pretty or you can go out for dinner. It's about finding that person who's going to take on that role of being the homeowner, the partner, the hands-on at the end of the day when you're drop dead tired, knowing grass needs to be cut, things need to be maintenance, things need to be fixed, things need to be repaired. That's the whole beauty of owning a home. And for people who live in apartments, for people who don't want that responsibility, when they are getting involved with somebody, they need to make sure that whoever they are getting involved with also doesn't want that responsibility. I love my garden. I love my yard. I love having that hands-on approach because that is the standard of measure that I grew up with. And I think too many people forget about those standards. They forget about those measures. They forget about the things that made them who they are, and it helped shape, mold, form, cultivate the dreams of who they wanted to be, where they wanted to live, and how they wanted to live as an adult. So who was your standard of measure? Who was the person in your life that shaped you, and how has that benefited you now? Too many people sweep things under the rug, not paying attention to all those things that really allowed you to become who you are right now. And as an adult, you get to pick and choose the better parts of anybody that raised you to be that better individual. You don't have to fall back on the things that didn't work in your life, but you count on the things that built character in you, that made you have that wonderful, moral self, having good ethics, having a work behavior where you wanted to put your hands in the dirt and to become something and to build from the ground up and grow